From her intense on-screen chemistry with Rosa Mendes, the connection felt electric and unforgettable.
I don't know, there's something about her that really turns me on.
Paige's love life has been nothing short of wild. We're talking real passion, public scandals. Paige's dating history includes messy breakups, and in this video, we're looking at 5 WWE stars she dated, starting with Brad Maddox. At number 1, we examine what was likely Paige's first serious relationship in WWE, her romance with Brad Maddox, which takes the top spot not because it lasted the longest or was the most public, but because the way it became known represents one of the biggest privacy breaches in wrestling history and had a major impact on Paige's life and mental health. Brad Maddox, born Joshua Tyler Klutz, was a WWE referee who later became an on-screen authority figure, playing a comedic general manager involved in various storylines. He joined WWE around the same time as Paige, with both rising through the developmental system before appearing on the main roster. Off-camera, Maddox and Paige formed a private romantic connection they kept low-key, mainly during 2013 to 2015. They first met in the developmental system, and by 2013 and 2014, backstage rumors began circulating about their possible relationship. Photos of them together eventually appeared online, sparking speculation among fans who followed NXT programming. At the time, there was no confirmation, no public acknowledgement, and no reason for the broader WWE audience to pay attention to any potential backstage romance. What made this relationship particularly complicated was the involvement of Xavier Woods, one of Brad Maddox's closest friends in wrestling. As mentioned earlier in Woods' entry, Paige, Maddox, and Woods were part of a tight-knit friend group who traveled together to shows and spent a lot of time together. During this period, likely in 2013 or 2014 based on video timestamps, Woods was involved in an intimate encounter with Paige, while Maddox was present and even filmed parts of it. Paige and Maddox's relationship appears to have ended quietly around mid-2015, with the exact circumstances unclear. And by early 2016, Paige was engaged to musician Kevin Scaff, showing the Maddox chapter had closed. There were no public statements, social media drama, or wrestling news reports about their breakup. It simply ended privately. Everything changed in March 2017 when Paige became the victim of a hacking incident, later referred to as part of Fappening 2.0, where private photos and videos were stolen and shared online without consent. Who was responsible has been controversial. In interviews around 2025, Paige publicly accused her ex-boyfriend, widely believed to be Brad Maddox, of leaking the videos, which he denied. Given his role in filming much of the content, suspicion naturally fell on him, though whether the consequences were deserved or unfair remains debated. Coming in at number 2 is Paige's most public, controversial, and destructive WWE-era relationship, her romance with Alberto Del Rio. This relationship had it all: passion, drama, suspensions, engagements, public confrontations, and ultimately serious abuse allegations that cast a dark shadow over everything that came before. If you followed wrestling news in 2016 and 2017, stories about Paige and Alberto Del Rio were unavoidable, and most were deeply troubling. Alberto Del Rio, born Jose Alberto Rodriguez Chucuan, is a former WWE champion whose career mixed in-ring success with controversy and self-destructive behavior. As the son of Mexican wrestling legend Dos Caras, he achieved multiple championship reigns and main event storylines in WWE. Paige and Del Rio's relationship began in early 2016, following the breakdown of Del Rio's marriage to Angela Velk, with whom he had 3 children. Divorce papers filed in June 2016 cited adultery, though Del Rio claimed the marriage had effectively ended in June 2015. Despite this, Paige and Del Rio went public with their relationship in May 2016, and it quickly became intense and all-consuming, with both seemingly head over heels for each other, even as red flags were clear to those around them. Fans and media also noticed the significant age gap and the speed with which they moved from going public to making major life commitments. The first major controversy came in August 2016, when both Paige and Alberto Del Rio were suspended by WWE for violating the company's wellness policy. This was Paige's first suspension, while Del Rio had also previously run afoul of WWE's substance rules. WWE never publicly confirmed the specific substances involved, though reports and speculation suggested drugs like cocaine, but nothing was officially verified. The fact that both were suspended at the same time raised questions and fueled rumors that they might have been using together. Their relationship seemed to reach a romantic high in October 2016 when Paige and Del Rio got engaged at a non-WWE wrestling event in a moment that felt like pure wrestling drama, with Paige flipping traditional roles by proposing to Del Rio in the ring in front of a crowd, making a very public declaration of their commitment.
I think some people have suspicion if it's like a real love or if it's just like a show.
Yeah, a lot of people said it was maybe for Total Divas or something like that, but No, we actually do. We love each other a lot.
Behind the scenes, however, their relationship was far from the fairy tale the public engagement suggested, as both Paige and Alberto Del Rio were dealing with serious personal issues. Paige later spoke openly about struggling with cocaine addiction during this period, describing herself as spiraling out of control, while Del Rio was balancing his independent wrestling career, media projects, charity work, and a contentious custody battle with his ex-wife, Angela Velke, over their 3 children. The cracks in their relationship became public on July 9, 2017, when Paige and Del Rio were involved in a heated altercation at Orlando International Airport that led to police being called around 3 p.m., with audio recordings capturing an emotional and distressed Paige saying, "Stay out of my life," while Del Rio claimed he had been assaulted. According to reports, Paige admitted to throwing a drink on Alberto Del Rio during the argument, though the exact cause of the confrontation was never fully explained. The police initially treated the incident as potential domestic violence against Del Rio, but later recommended battery charges against Paige. However, no arrests were made and no charges were filed. Paige was taken to a hospital for evaluation, with authorities determining the situation was more of a medical issue than a criminal one. Global Force Wrestling, later Impact Wrestling, suspended Del Rio pending their investigation, but he chose not to pursue charges, and legally the matter was dropped, though it remained in public memory. This airport incident occurred just months after the March 2017 privacy breach that exposed Paige's intimate videos with Brad, Maddox, and Xavier Woods. The relationship finally ended in late 2017, around November or December, with both initially describing the breakup as amicable and based on logistical issues. Del Rio explained that Paige refused to relocate to San Antonio to be closer to him and his children, while he could not move to Orlando due to his custody arrangement, leaving them effectively unable to see each other. They were not letting her come to San Antonio. "I couldn't go to Orlando because I have 3 little kids," Del Rio explained. Paige shared similar feelings in a December 2017 interview, saying she wanted to focus on fixing her life while Del Rio concentrated on his family, insisting there was no animosity and that they had simply grown apart due to circumstances. On the surface, this seemed like a mature way to handle the end of a relationship that hadn't worked out, but the full story emerged in later years, revealing a far more troubling picture. In November 2020, during an interview with GAW.TV, Paige described systematic physical and mental abuse she endured during her relationship with Del Rio, recounting being trapped in a room for 6 to 7 hours and beaten repeatedly, creating a cycle of violence that contributed to stress-induced anorexia and suicidal thoughts. She avoided naming Del Rio directly, instead referring to him as Voldemort, the Harry Potter villain whose name characters fear to speak, though it was clear who she meant. Del Rio denied the allegations in a TMZ Sports interview, claiming the situation was the opposite, and suggesting Paige had been the abuser rather than the victim.
Have another situation with another person accusing me of something. Where's your evidence? There's your evidence. And thank God now. And I said it in my interview with my great friend Hugo Sabinovich. Hey, we had a confidential agreement in the past for $1 million. That's the only reason why I never said anything.
Addressing Paige, Del Rio questioned her motives for going public with the allegations, suggesting she was lying and claiming that the only reason he hadn't exposed her was due to a confidentiality agreement they had signed.
I never exposed you. I never told the truth about all your arrests for domestic violence when we were together. But please, don't mess with me again. Enough is enough.
He warned Paige to stop discussing him publicly or risk him revealing information that could harm her career, a threat that did nothing to make his denials more credible and arguably confirmed concerns about his controlling and aggressive behavior. The controversies around this relationship are numerous and serious. Beyond the mutual abuse allegations, Paige's father openly opposed the idea of her marrying Del Rio from the start, and fan reaction has been overwhelmingly negative toward Del Rio, with wrestling communities on platforms like Twitter, now X, expressing reluctance to see him return to major promotions like WWE because of his history. Many fans label him a woman beater and question why any company would associate with someone facing such serious allegations and a pattern of problematic behavior. As of 2025, there has been no reconciliation, no friendly contact, and no sign that either party has softened their stance. Coming in at number 3 is one of the most controversial and sensitive entries on this list: the connection between Paige and Xavier Woods. To be clear, this was not a traditional dating relationship in any conventional sense. What we are discussing is a brief intimate encounter between friends that would have remained entirely private if not for one of the most egregious privacy violations in wrestling history. Xavier Woods, born Austin Watson, is now one of WWE's biggest stars as a member of the New Day, one of wrestling's most successful and beloved tag teams. According to reports, what happened between Paige and Woods was a consensual, intimate encounter. Not a committed relationship or a prolonged affair, but rather a friends with benefit situation or possibly even a one-time encounter between friends. The situation also involved Brad Maddox, Paige's boyfriend at the time, and a close friend of Woods, as the three often traveled together to WWE events, with Woods and Maddox described as best buddies within the wrestling business. For years, this aspect of their past remained private, and Paige and Woods continued to interact publicly in friendly and professional ways with no sign of awkward. Paige even appeared on Xavier Woods' YouTube channel Up, Up, Down, Down, where they played video games like EA Sports UFC 2 in May, seeming at the time like nothing more than two friends hanging out and having fun. Xavier Woods married his partner Jess Watson in October 2015, marking a clear end to encounter happened well before this marriage during 2013-2014, meaning there was no confirmed infidelity despite speculative fan discussions. Everything changed in March 2017 when private content from Paige's devices was hacked and leaked online as part of the Fappening 2.0, or a revenge porn incident. The leaked material included explicit photos and videos from years earlier, specifically the 2013-2014 period, showing intimate moments between Paige and Brad Maddox, as well as footage involving Paige, Maddox, and Xavier Woods. One particularly notorious clip even showed Maddox engaging in a sexual act with Paige's NXT Women's Championship belt, an image that unfortunately became emblematic of the entire scandal. Paige immediately confirmed on Twitter that she had been hacked, stating, "Personal and private photos of mine were stolen, and unfortunately they were shared publicly without my consent," making it clear that this was a violation of her privacy, not an intentional leak or publicity stunt. The timing made the situation even worse, occurring while she was engaged to Alberto Del Rio, adding personal turmoil to an already devastating moment. The fallout was severe and far-reaching, with catastrophic effects on Paige's life. She has spoken openly in interviews, including on the Chasing Glory podcast, about how the scandal contributed to severe mental health struggles, including stress-induced anorexia, battling cocaine addiction, describing herself as a cokehead during that period, and even contemplating suicide. The public nature of the violation, combined with online harassment and judgment, pushed her to some of her darkest moments. WWE, however, was supportive, assuring her there would be no professional repercussions and standing by her during this difficult time. For Xavier Woods, the situation was professionally complicated as well. He was temporarily removed from television, likely to let the scandal die down and protect both his image and WWE's family-friendly brand. Unlike Paige, though, Woods was able to continue his career relatively smoothly after a brief hiatus. Xavier Woods' marriage to Jess Watson remained intact, and he went on to achieve tremendous success with The New Day, winning multiple championships and becoming one of WWE's most prominent performers. The fact that the encounter occurred years before his marriage, and before The New Day's rise, likely helped minimize long-term damage to his career. Regarding the leak itself, questions about who was responsible have fueled ongoing speculation and accusations. As of 2025, Paige, wrestling under the name Saraya in AEW, has publicly accused her ex-boyfriend, widely believed to be Brad Maddox, of leaking the videos. Maddox has denied the claims, but given his role in filming much of the content, suspicion has naturally fallen on him within the wrestling community. As for Paige and Woods, there was never a dramatic breakup because there was no formal relationship. Their intimate encounter was a brief moment during their NXT days that ended naturally as careers progressed and personal lives evolved. Woods' 2015 marriage marked a clear endpoint for any potential ongoing situation, and all evidence suggests things had concluded well before that. The 2017 leak did not cause their split. It simply revealed to the world something that had already been friendship and professional interactions in a new light, forcing both performers to face public scrutiny and judgment over private decisions made years earlier in very different contexts. Moving on to our fourth story, we enter the unusual and somewhat awkward world of reality television romance, where the lines between scripted drama and genuine emotion often blur, focusing on the connection between Paige and Rosa Mendes on E! This reality show, Total Divas in 2015, Rosa Mendes, born Melina Ruca, had been with WWE since 2006, making her a veteran of the women's division by the time Paige debuted on the main roster in April 2014. Despite their different positions, Paige as the fresh-faced revolutionary, changing women's wrestling, and Rosa as the established presence who had seen it. All the two formed a genuinely close friendship. Along with Alicia Fox, they called themselves the Three Amigas, creating a tight bond that became the foundation for one of Total Divas' most memorable and controversial storylines.
They have these sick boots. They're like dominatrix style.
Oh,
Yeah, I want to see you in those stripper clothes.
oh, sure. I have a feeling that you're like kind of coming on to me, and I don't know where I'm getting this from. But sure, as long as you don't touch the goodies, you know.
The storyline aired during Total Divas' third season, specifically episode 14 in January 2015, though filming had taken place several months earlier in late 2014. What makes this story intriguing is that what began as a reality TV plot actually involved real emotions, making it far more complex and nuanced than a typical scripted wrestling angle. The situation started innocently during a shopping trip filmed for the show when Rosa Mendes, watching Paige try on outfits, openly expressed attraction to her friend.
Yeah, I want to see you in those stripper clothes.
Oh, sure. I have a feeling that you're like kind of coming on to me, and I don't know where I'm getting this from. But sure, as long as you don't touch the goodies, you know.
She went so far as to confess to the cameras, saying, "There's something about her that really turns me on."
Paige is like gorgeous. I like the way your butt looks in it.
In the context of reality television, you might assume this was just producers stirring up drama for ratings. But according to Rosa's later reflections, these feelings were genuinely real, even if amplified for television. The situation escalated during a group discussion at Alicia Fox's house, where the topic of hooking up with women came up, as it sometimes does among close friends. Paige, open and honest, as she usually was, admitted she had been with a girl before nothing scandalous, just a truthful acknowledgement of her past experiences.
Like the 21st century. I'm not very fussy.
Totally. So you have been with a girl then?
Well, yes, the 21st century.
The situation reached a dramatic peak during a dinner scene that became uncomfortable for everyone involved. The three friends went out to eat, but Rosa's flirtation with Paige grew so intense and focused that Alicia Fox felt like a literal third wheel at what was meant to be a group dinner.
I'm starting to feel like the third wheel, and this little crush thing is definitely worrying me about the three of me.
After dinner, while the two women waited for a cab, Rosa Mendes made her move, leaning in and forcibly kissing Paige on the lips.
There's my cab.
Is that us?
Can you wait 2 seconds? Thank you.
Sorry, babe. Sorry. Bye, Lena. I had a really good time. It was really fun. It was okay. Okay.
Cameras captured Paige's immediate reaction as she pulled away, with her body language and facial expression clearly showing that this wasn't what she wanted. She quickly told Rosa that they were just friends, apologized if she had sent mixed signals, and tried to let her down as gently as possible under the circumstances.
Okay. What was that for?
Well, didn't you like it?
I just don't know why you did it.
Like I was getting little signals. The way you look at me, it's like,
Rosa, no.
what?
No.
But Rosa left the scene upset and embarrassed, leading to a period of avoidance where she refused to answer Paige's calls. Rosa later explained she was feeling particularly fragile at the time, due to recent personal rejections, and was struggling to understand what she wanted. Calling this a breakup wouldn't be accurate, as there was never a romantic relationship to end. What occurred was a one-sided crush, amplified and exploited by reality television producers, combined with genuine personal confusion on Rosa's part about her sexuality and desires. External factors also naturally ended the storyline's relevance. Rosa announced her pregnancy in August 2015, just months after the episode aired, and gave birth in February 2016. This major life change shifted her focus from wrestling to motherhood, and she officially retired from WWE in 2017. Meanwhile, Paige continued her wrestling career, though she would soon face personal challenges that dominated headlines far more than this Total Divas moment. Coming in at number 5 is Cory Graves, a connection that arguably might not even belong on this list, but persistent and widespread rumors within the wrestling community make it worth examining and debunking. We're talking about the alleged romance between Paige and Cory Graves, the current WWE commentator and retired wrestler born Matthew Polinsky. To understand where these rumors came from, we need to go back to the early 2010s, when both Paige and Graves were rising through WWE's developmental system. Paige joined WWE in 2011, starting in Florida Championship Wrestling, which would later become NXT, while Graves signed around the same time, moving from independent wrestling to the developmental territory as both a tag team specialist and singles competitor. Rumors gained traction between 2013 and 2015, and there were reasons fans and media speculated about a potential romance. During this period, Paige and Graves were often paired together for WWE house shows and live events, spending significant time traveling together. In wrestling, performers who travel together frequently become travel buddies, sharing rental cars, meals, and general companionship during the demanding schedule of constant touring. And that's exactly what Paige and Graves were travel buddies who shared a lot in common, which only fueled speculation further. Both had extensive tattoos, shared an interest in alternative music and punk rock aesthetics, and presented themselves as going against typical WWE norms. Fans saw them as compatible in both personality and style, and photos of them together at group settings or WWE events circulated online, with some convinced there was more than friendship. The timeline is important. During the height of these rumors, from 2013 to 2015, Paige was in a confirmed relationship with Brad Maddox, though this wasn't publicly known at the time and would only be confirmed years later through the 2017 privacy breach. Crucially, Cory Graves was married to Amy Polinsky throughout this period, having tied the knot in 2009 and raised 3 children, making any romantic involvement with Paige not only unlikely, but also ethically problematic. As for notable incidents keeping these rumors alive, honestly, there were very few. The main evidence rumor mongers pointed to was simply that Paige and Graves traveled together frequently for house shows and appeared to be close friends. It's worth noting that Graves' personal life did later face controversy, but it had nothing to do with Paige. In 2019, Graves and Amy Polinsky divorced amid allegations that he had an affair with Carmella, another WWE superstar, which became publicly messy with his ex-wife, making accusations on social media focused solely on Carmella. Paige was never mentioned in any of these claims, and the old rumors about her were completely absent. Graves went on to marry Carmella in 2022, and they now have a child together. With that, we've reached the end of this deep dive. Thanks for watching.